This is chapter 51 in Beyond Exile. Jose Altagracia Ramirez Navas. And the last chapter 50 is very shocking and a lot to think about right now. In chapter 50, Lucky in Milan, Frank arrives in Milan looking for Ilich. Doesn't find him in Berlitz. Returns to Paulo's loft. The phone rings. Ilich is calling him and says, hey, we're going to go to La Torneo Magistral, a chess tournament. And pack your bag, get ready, we're going to this chess tournament. And bring your shaving kit. So, at that point, Frank's, I guess his cover's been blown, because in the shaving kit is the gun given to Frank to kill Ilich. And as this chapter starts, Frank has gone over to Berlitz. Ilich has arrived. We are no longer Frank. We are just the observer now, because Frank and Ilich are in the inventory with Frank's book of numbers, which he found. It was left in Paulo's apartment from bygone days. So he's got his book of numbers back that he wrote in the University of Oregon in chapter 2, The Face of Pythagoras. But we're traveling with a white Mercedes, Ilich's vehicle, and we have the shaving kit. There's a gun in there. But obviously, there's no point, since Ilich says, bring your shaving kit. The idea of surprising Ilich would seem to be, at least, out of the question. We could always try, I suppose. But right now, we can't do anything because we're not Frank or Ilich. We're just watching these two drive their car. And this chapter begins in Milan. And we're in the Berlitz Language Center. We've gotten into the car, and there's 4 directions we can go. North takes us back to central Milan. And then west takes us to the chapel where the gargoyle statue was. And east to Corso Porto Romano, but there is a new direction south. So we're going to go south in the vehicle, and that puts us into chapter scene number 120, cruising the Autostrada del Sol. This story was written by Calvino, says Ilich, smiling sideways at Frank as they cruise the Autostrada del Sol. Ilich is going to speak. Nice. We're driving with the top down and get stuck in a traffic jam. There's an assassin following us in a silver Porsche 911. No matter how many lanes we change, no matter how fast or slow we go, the assassin stays perfectly on our tail. And when things grind to a halt, I kill him before he kills us. And Frank will begin a monologue here. That's not how it goes, says Frank. He's not who we think he is. Then Ilich speaks again. It doesn't matter. That's the essence of eternal recurrence. We repeat every event infinitely, but each time it's different. We're different. It's a great circle. And then as these two are driving in the car, we see that there are brake lights ahead. I see brake lights ahead, says Frank. Anything? Alright, they're coming up with some traffic. Ilich continues speaking. It's not a job, continues Ilich. It's necessity. In this shattering second, I must act, or I'll never be able to act again. And now we see there's traffic. The traffic's slowing. Can you see the Porsche? And now we are Frank. So, we're in the car. Ilich is driving. We have the shaving kit. We could pull the gun out and kill Ilich. Or can we? Not actually, because I don't see Ilich's character here. Just Ilich speaking. Well, we can kill him while he's speaking. But he goes, can you see the Porsche? And there's the silver Porsche 911. So let's look at that. Frank checks the side mirror and turns. Maybe. Let's look at it again. Okay. Frank, let's see. What can we do as Frank? We look at the traffic. No? Nothing? Ilich speaking, monologue. The assassin takes many forms. Morrow is murdered by CIA agents, shape-shifting as supermodels, on Kissinger's arm. The Porsche is, and is not, a Porsche. 2 lanes right, 9 cars back. Alright, let's look again. Look at the Porsche, and this time Frank says yes. Frank spots it. And now it's, it says there's stop traffic ahead. Hang on one second. Click all these. Nothing. There's stop traffic. Let's look at stop traffic. They're decelerating. Stopping. A Fellini circus explodes. Teenagers with old faces clean the windshield. Old women with red shawls hawk fruit. The sardonic crones. And at this point, the traffic has stopped, the vehicles have stopped, and a bunch of people have invaded the scene. So now you've got everybody in the scene. We are Frank. Here's our book of numbers. Ilich. There's the Mercedes. Brake lights, traffic, stop traffic, the shaving kit, the passport, the Porsche. What do we do? We're Frank. What do we do? What do we do? Well, let's try this. Should we try killing Ilich? Let's look at the Porsche again, first of all. No, nothing. Okay, there's the Porsche. Let's look at the shaving kit again. Let's take it. I can't take it. Alright, well, let's just look at Ilich. We can't take the shaving kit, but there it is. We look at Ilich. Frank looks closer at Ilich. Shaved head, no mustache, deep tan, aviator glasses. He's a multinational businessman based in Damascus, commuting from Berlin to Budapest, selling his terrorist network to the highest bidder. So that explains what's happened since Yemen. Carlos, or Ilich, is on his own. Can we speak to him? So we speak to Ilich, and Ilich says, "Give me the gun." No? Or what? What? Your gun. Give Ilich the shaving kit, ignore Ilich. Let's ignore Ilich for a second. Let's look at the shaving kit again. Let's try and take it. I can't take it. Let's look at Ilich. Let's speak to him again. Give me the gun. Give me the gun again. What? Your gun. Alright, let's give Ilich the shaving kit. I don't think he's going to kill us. He doesn't seem remotely interested in killing Frank at this point. Frank reaches into his shaving kit and hands it over. And then we look, and then now on the object list, in addition to the shaving kit, we have a Beretta. Separate from the shaving kit, we can look at that. And it is loaded with destroyer bullets. Well, Frank can take the gun and give it to Ilich. We take the gun, and now we are Ilich. Frank has just given you the Beretta out of his shaving kit. So, Ilich, well, let's see if, let's look at our buddy Frank and see as Ilich. He says, I do this for us. I do this for the world. I'll do this 1 billion times until the end of time. Alright, so this is where, okay, let's look at the Porsche. Ilich swings out of the driver's seat, crouches at the fender well, and stalks Bronze back to his prey. And there's the Porsche again. Nothing. But now there's a blue BMW in the scene with the Porsche and the Mercedes. This is the one we're driving right here. A blue BMW. In the rear view mirror, Frank can see Desi sitting with Tony in a blue BMW sedan. 1 lane left, 14 cars back. She's speaking into her lapel pin. This is getting interesting now. I think we should use the gun on that. So let's have Ilich shoot the BMW. Nothing. Alright, let's look at this. Nothing happens when you use the gun on the BMW. Let's look at the Porsche again. I mean the silver Porsche. Now the silver Porsche is 1 lane right, 4 cars back. An old man with thin white hair at the wheel, fiddling with something in his lap. The driver of the silver Porsche. Well, that's the assassin. Ilich, and is he really gonna shoot him? Well, let's try it. Using the gun on the old man. Ouch. Ilich looms and shoots him in the neck. And now you see bloody Porsche. Bloody Porsche 911. The Porsche's horn blows. 1,000 horns start blowing. It's Italy. The traffic's moving. The vendors disappear. The BMW disappears. So the car following them with Desi and Tony is gone. There's a bloody Porsche. Let's look at the car again. No? Stop traffic. Ilich has the gun. Let's look at Frank. It's done, says Ilich, handing back the gun. Wow. So, we are Frank. We've watched as Ilich pulled over and killed a driver of a Porsche that was following them. Their assassin. And Frank he's going to look at the Porsche. No. He looks at the gun. He takes the gun back. Yeah, he takes the gun. So Frank takes the gun back. And at the same time when that happens, we are still Frank, but we have the book of numbers. We're with Ilich and the Mercedes in the car with a gun. So at this point, we could shoot Ilich, but I don't want to do that yet. You know, let's just figure this out. Let's say there's a bloody Porsche here. And then there's a clear driving lane. So let's look here and punch it. This is Ilich's. Again, it's done. Now we're brothers. Now everything's a possibility. He was loading destroyer bolts. It only takes a scratch. Only a scratch. The 3 roads meet here, Frank. Your exile is over. You can return to the States. And Frank looks at the car again. And it goes, who was he? Asks Frank, touching his fingertips. Ilich. And Ilich starts speaking. Jose Altagracia Ramirez Navas. My father. My dreams should be better now, and so should yours. Necessity makes the unconscious conscious, and we take an accent from Sophocles and make it ours. Conscious patricide is our first freedom, the one universal ground of evolution, the cure of choice for an apparatus running the oils of systematic infanticide. What I've done here today restores the world again. What I've done here today recovers the myth of self again. Remember the storyline, Frank. We're on our way to Spiezia. We enter a traffic jam. We remember a Calvino story, and the rest is magic. I always thought my father would bring me to God. As Cocteau said, art must astound the artist. The passion of its revenge transcends the emptiness and soothes the absurdity of the creation's self-consciousness. We are all beguiled believers before we find our will. My father cannot be the assassin, yet he is. He was loading a gun with destroyers identical to yours. It only takes a scratch. My father cannot be God, yet he is. It was him or us. You looked back and your cosmic wife was lost. You looked back and found the three wills. The nightmare ends. Again. My dreams should be better now, and so should yours. Seen from this height, every authentic act is patricide. Every life preparation for a noble death. Jose Altagracia or Sanchez Navas was God. His immortality is guaranteed as long as actors read and readers act. I killed God because he was blocking my way. I killed God because God was dead. Now that puts us back into the scene 120. We're cruising the Autostrada del Sol. Wow, so there is the Oedipus. There is the patricide. It was Ilich killing his father. The father he loved. From Caracas. As opposed to Frank, the father he despised. Interesting. So with that, we have Frank and Ilich again. We are the observer, no longer Frank. The two gentlemen are traveling in a Mercedes with the gun. But now we can continue to go south. This should take us to the Spiezia. And indeed, it takes us to scene 121. The Italian province of the Spiezia. And this is where the chess tournament is supposed to be for these two gentlemen. Getting a little relaxation after the dirty work, I suppose. But we're going to pause here because a new chapter begins called The Marks. We're going to pause the game right here. That was chapter 51. Jose Altagracia Ramirez Navas. As Frank reunites with Ilich / Carlos the Jackal, and he kills his father. Or he kills someone he says is his father, so I suppose. It's one way of looking at it. Nevertheless, he kills a man following them in a Porsche. Then again, it was just a guy in a Porsche. Maybe he wasn't following them. The only thing we know is that we saw Desi and Tony in a blue BMW behind the Porsche. And they vanished. So Frank, who are your friends now? Is it Ilich? Or is it Desi? Or neither? Anyway, we're going to pause the game right here. Chapter 51, Jose Altagracia Ramirez Navas. Thank you for watching Beyond Exile as we are reaching our climax.